What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today is the day, my first video of the new Season 3 server, Maul. Of course, you know I gotta go back to my roots and talk tanking. A lot has changed for tanking, and I have never been more excited to explore these changes and share what I find. So today's video will be a build guide on the holy Parry hybrid I have been using so far, and I have been absolutely smashing Mythic dungeons with this. The threat is out of control with this spec. I have easily been able to hold threat off people doing over 4K single target and have never played a build that can AoE tank like this. If these videos help you and want to show me some love back, remember that it only takes a few seconds, but subscribing below and leaving a like will get this video out to as many people as possible. Let's dive into the video. I will be the first to admit this, the team has done an outstanding job addressing some core gameplay problems that were hamstringing innovation in tanking builds. I won't go over all of that here, but suffice it to say, this new league has brought to the table many new quote-unquote ascended viable builds, which makes me personally unbelievably happy. Not gonna lie, I was very skeptical in my first video about the tank changes when they were first announced, and the team has exceeded my expectations. Massive thumbs up to Dutch and the team, you guys are kicking ass. Let's start this build guide off right by talking about the random enchant and stat priorities. The legendary RE used for this build will be Purification by Light. This will be the first time I have used this RE for a build, and from my testing, it has not disappointed me in the slightest. Not only is this RE extremely simple to use, you literally just smack monsters and it works, but it's also insanely good for tanking. If you don't have a lot of spell power initially to scale it, you can use talent points and other REs to help make up for the lack of gear. Plus, with the changes to Righteous Fury, this helps us get more tanky by investing into stamina, which in turn increases our spell power for more threat. I love REs that have more synergy than what is written in-game, and finding those hidden synergies is what makes me the most happy when making these build guides. Some of you watching might be wondering why I'm not using Consecrated Strikes. The short answer is that the difference in performance of these REs is less than 2% overall from my testing. I find Purification by Light to be up more often, which if I'm using a legendary RE, I want as much uptime on it as I can get. Makes it feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it, you know? If you like Consecrated Strikes more just from a class fantasy standpoint, by all means, use it instead. You will never notice a difference unless you look hard enough to find it. Moving on to the epic REs used for this build, the first one we use is Emanating Light, second we use Weapon Command, and third we use Indomitable. Emanating Light is a godsend for tanking builds in general, especially this one. What makes this RE one of the most satisfying ones to use is that it solves the main problem with Consecration, the fact it stays where you cast it. I love precasting this, charging into a pack, and following up with a Divine Storm. My screen erupts in a cascade of numbers, especially if Purification by Light happens to proc as well. This is just a pure feels-good man enchant, and more than carries its weight in performance, trust me. Weapon Command is an absolute value machine of an RE. You get 10 expertise in one slot, and you get a nice boost to your melee haste as well. If you have ever played a melee build, you know how insane getting 10 expertise is for your overall output. Not much to say on this one, it's just really good. Indomitable helps this build out a tremendous amount in terms of survivability. Getting an extra 10% healing is such a crazy boost in the span of a fight, especially ones that tend to last for over 10 minutes. The amount of extra healing you get from this RE far and away outshines anything else you can use in this slot. Although I don't take advantage of the second part of this RE, you could look to drop a point in the talent tree and pick up Last Stand if you feel like you need a little bit extra tankiness. So far, I haven't felt the need to it in any situation. The rest of the REs used in the build are 3 Weapon Expertise, 3 Sanctity of Battle, 3 Hasty Ghostly Strike, 1 Precision, 1 Holy Guardian, and 1 Spiritual Attunement. The stat priority for this build is as follows: Strength, Stamina, Parry rating, Spell Power, then Dodge rating. Next thing we gotta cover is the talent tree and spells. As we always do, we will start left to right, so feel free to follow along as we go over this together. Starting here in the Druid, the spell we take is Barkskin. Moving over to Hunter, the spell we take here is Aspect of the Monkey. Over in Mage, in the Arcane tree, the spell we take here is Brilliance Aura, and over in Fire, the spell we take here is Molten Armor. Here in the Paladin tree, the spells we take is Consecration and Holy Wrath. Over in Protection, the spells we take here are Righteous Fury, Divine Protection, and Hand of Reckoning. The talents we take here are 3 points into Improved Consecration, 3 points into Tenacity, 4 points into Reckoning, and 3 points into Ardent Defender. In the Retribution tree, the spells we take here are Judgment of Wisdom, Retribution Aura, and Hammer of Wrath. The talents we take here are 3 points into Light's Vengeance, 3 points into Heart of the Crusader, 3 points into Judgment of the Wise, 1 point into Seal of Command, 1 point into Crusader Strike, and 1 point into Divine Storm. Over in the Rogue tree, the spells we take here are Slice and Dice and Combat Readiness. Over in Combat, the spell we take here is Evasion. The talents we take here are 3 points into Improved Riposte, and of course, Riposte. Over in Subtlety, the talents we take here are 2 points into Sleight of Hand, 1 point into Ghostly Strike, and 3 points into Setup. The last place we go is over here in the Warrior tree. The spell we take here is Charge, Thunderclap, and Avatar. The talents we take here are 3 points into Deflection, 3 points into Iron Will, and 3 points into Tactical Mastery. The last couple points are here in the Fury tree. We take Challenging Shout. It is always imperative that you have an AoE taunt as a tank in dungeons. Do not go into them without it. Trust me. The last talents we take here are over here in Protection. We take 5 points into Adaptive Defense, and the last thing we take is Shockwave. I can't let you guys go without going over some rotation and gameplay. Since this is a tank build, there isn't an exact rotation you have to adhere to, but there are a few abilities and spells you want to prioritize over others. How I start any fight, if possible, is by using Hand of Reckoning. If the ability happens to hit, you get an initial 500 to 1000 holy damage shot right away, then follow that up with Charge. Once you make contact with your target, go ahead and use your Consecration. The talent will make it deal an immediate burst of damage to all enemies hit, and then I follow that up with a Divine Storm. This should establish you well above on threat over anyone, and then from here you look to maintain the buff from Ghostly Strike as long as possible. Use Riposte whenever it comes up, and then just use whatever comes off cooldown at this point. Judgment is a fantastic source of mana, single target threat, but with the talent, it also makes it a potent AoE threat tool as well. Once you get in there and start playing around with this build, you will get the hang of how to initiate fights and when to use which ability to get the most out of them. I'm going to leave you guys off with some gameplay footage of me doing some Mythics and some Mythic pluses as well. You will see how this build plays out and hopefully why I love it so much. And with that, this video is done. Subscribe below for more content. I will see you in the next one.